Shalom. So today we're going to talk about Hebrews 13 verse 4. So we're going to deal with four aspects, right? So we're going to look at marriage in itself as established by the Most High. We're going to look at honoring a marriage. How do we or how should we honor a marriage? We're going to look at the bed undefiled. We're also going to look at the aspect that says God will judge, because we know there is a judgment that comes with certain actions that we take, consequences, right? But before we get into those four aspects, we are going to look at one main thing: language. Now you might be wondering, what does language have to do with marriage? Marriage is marriage in every language. Yes, marriage is marriage in every language, but how it is defined in every language or every culture, that's a whole different thing. And this is one way that we have to stand up for marriage, is by doing what? Redefining it as how it was done in the ancient days, by the Ancient of Days. All right? So when you deal with marriage, marriage can only be a union between male and female, right? Man and woman. So in this culture, they can use terms like same-sex marriage, where you have a woman and woman together, they call that marriage. Man and man together, they call that marriage, right? A man and a beast, or a woman and a beast, and they call that marriage, as you see in some cultures. We have to redefine it in our ancient ways, right? For example, can a man lie with another man? Yes. Is it the same as marriage? No. And this is why in our wisdom it says that if a man lie with an ex-man, it did not say if a man marries an ex-man, because that's not functional. And if there is no function to it, that means it does not exist in that way. So there's no such thing as same-sex marriage. So even us as Hebrews should not use the term same-sex marriage, because it does not exist, right? So we have to redefine things, and we have to talk according to how we think. So you cannot be thinking that, oh, homosexual they are, whatever, but at the same time you're saying same-sex marriage, because if it was marriage, then it would be legal, right? So this is why we call it what it is. It's an abomination. It's not a marriage, because marriage is honorable before the Most High. So the language is very important. So we have to go back to this. Then we can now understand the different aspects of this precept. So we're going to look at Hebrews 13 and verse 4. It says, marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. So we're going to look at marriage from the standpoint of the Most High, from what He established, right? A man of wisdom. We saw that He took this man, He put into him His wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So he knows what? He knows how to deal with his purpose. He knows how to go after a purpose. He knows how to order his home, right? So if he should take unto a woman, guess what? The woman will see the man's ambition. He will see his purpose. And then the next thing is that she wants to support that purpose. So she knows exactly what she will help him to manifest in his life. One of the reasons why there are so many problems in these relationships today is what? The man does not have a purpose. A job is not a purpose, because a lot of us saw cases where men were making money and stuff like that, and it seems as if their house was in order, but as soon as they fall from that making money, what happens? Now the woman is in the rulership. So there was no order in the first place, because the man himself has to be in order, with or without money. And this is a problem. People mistake how you earn or what you earn by the respect that they give to you. And we see this in the social media thing today, where a lot of people are putting this term high value and stuff like that are a provider, and they're equating that to money. Well, COVID taught a lot of them lessons, because when a lot of people couldn't go out to work and stuff like that, you saw how dysfunctional the home was. How many marriages, not marriages, how many divorces went through in that time period alone. Because there's a difference between what a man can actually do for you from his heart, from what his money can actually do for you. So a man paying all these little things for you, it does not say anything about him. Absent the money, what is he doing for you? What is he truly doing from his heart or with pure intentions for you? That veil would have to be parted first for a lot of you guys to understand what a real marriage is. Right? So marriage has nothing to do with how you earn, because today a man can be nothing in that sense, broke, but he just wants some money and now he's a high value man. Really? You just look at him as a low value man yesterday, but now he won some money, and tomorrow now he becomes a high value man. Really? Right, so we have to get rid of these terminologies that that they're pushing, especially in the black communities, right? Marriage was so honorable back then that even if two people are broke, guess what? Because they reverence marriage so much, they would give them everything to make that marriage functional. So guess what? This person comes, give them a pair of goat, this person a pair of cow, this person give whatever little things that they need to start their homes. They're not gonna give coffee cups and these things as wedding gifts. They gave real things that can be substantial for their daily uses, for their needs, to maintain a family. That was how much we honored marriages back then. It was not based upon what substance you had, whether you're rich or you're poor. It was valued by the entire community. And also the community would respect and honor it so much that once they know that this woman belongs to this man, no one can cross that line. So even in the community, adultery would be like a shame, a disgrace, because the entire community would support marriage. So if that takes place, that's why they would stone both of them to death or humiliate them in some form or way. The community would support it. That's how honorable marriage was. The woman would honor the man so much, where if the man is this hardworking and, keep himself in order, serving the Most High, taking care of the people and so forth, guess what? The first thing that that woman would want to do for him is to give him an heir. And also name the son the same name as the husband, as the father. So if the father is the senior, the son, the heir, is going to be the junior. That's the honor the woman had for them. Where is it today? A lot of you today want to give part of the name of the father and part of the name of the mother. No. You name him after, especially if it's the heir, the first one. Right? Now, another aspect of the marriage, not be alone. Yeah, even though it said man should not be alone, but does this only go for men? It's the same for women. So if by nature we should not be alone, it's the same for the woman. And then again, in this Western modern culture, these people are pushing this single life as if it's an accomplishment. Oh, this is how I sleep, knowing that I don't have to worry about anyone. And that justifies you being single. Right? So, what happens when a person is single? Your mind is more likely to stray as opposed to focusing on your goals. right? So now you have all these little things to go towards your main goal in life. Now you need a support system, right? So yes, Adam had the wisdom, he had the cattle, he had this and he had that, but now he needed a woman to carry on this and also to carry on his seed after him. That's the most important part of it, the seed. A lot of these people who are pushing this being single, you know what? If social media should um, reveal a lot of their inbox messages, you would see their shame being exposed. You would see the type of filth they are, because the person they appear to be on their news feed, where everyone can see, is a whole different person in the inbox, right? You're single, guess what? You are seeking all these mind stimulated conversations, something that make you feel good. So even if you're not having the physical sex, all those things that you're hearing, those compliments are those, oh, if I was your man or if I was your woman, all those little things contribute to what? The fornication, the immorality. The fornication is what happens at the mental level. The adultery is what happens at the physical level. So yes, you might not be, like for a person in relationship, you might not physically be having sex with someone, but having them feed into you all those nice things that you would like to hear from your husband. That is part of the fornication process. Those are considered immorality. So if you're honoring being single, you have to, or you should be free from immoralities. But you can't be doing this over here and then pushing this image as if that's hypocrisy. All right? We were created for intimacy. That's why I said we should not be alone. We need to have real intimate relationships, and a lot of people, they cannot have this because they were hurt sometimes when they were ignorant to what love or what a real relationship should be. So now everything that they built is built around this idea that, oh, I'm not gonna give too much of myself. So it's like the body is in the relationship, but the mind is 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So if the person slips, that's where it is today, right? So there's not much deep intimacy. Maybe the person that you're with is the person that knows the least about you. Everyone else knows. Even your dirty shame, you can tell your friends or whoever, tell other men, other women. But the very person that should know, so he can understand or she can understand and relate to your pain, is the person that does not know. And then when they do things that unintentionally hurt you, you're blaming them, but you never told them that that is what's happening at the surface. Family unit. Family is one of that belong to your nation. So when the Most High said he took one of his rib, he took someone of his family. A rib is a bone. So if a person is of your bone and of your flesh, it is a way of saying, this is my family. So what is it telling you? You cannot be of this nation and be with a person of another nation and say you're one family. That was why Isaac was mad at Esau when he took the daughters of Canaan to be for wife. He took the daughters of all these other people. It displeased the father because that was not the honor that they grew up with or what he taught them. So this is bone of my bones, this is flesh of my flesh. It means this is family of my family. I started a family within my own nation. So that's a very important aspect of marriage. And today, because we are wiser than them back then, what we're seeing today, we've seen much, so we can relate to a lot of things. So how can you be in a union with a person who does not share your pain and your suffering, however they profit from it? The thing with your own nation, being in a relationship with your own nation, is if both of you are in the kingdom, you are in the kingdom glorying together, glorifying together. If you're in hell, you're going through hell together. You can relate to each other's pain and suffering. So we don't have to be talking about how the black woman is this and that when we understand what they're going through. They don't have to be talking about a lot of us men are not this and that. They understand our pain. But guess what? When you are with a nation who does not understand your pain, but they profit from it, that's a whole different level. How can you two relate to each other? When without your pain and suffering, these people would be nothing. No, this one flesh is going to tie in with the family unit, right? Because one flesh is not when two people have sex. We all can attest to this. We have had sex with people who we know that we did not become one flesh with. In order for you to be one flesh, you have to have something supreme that binds the two together. So if you are this nation and you belong to this God, and then you have this nation that has this God, what supreme force is going to bind you together? Because guess what? The gods will not be bound together. So if it's not bound together in heaven, guess what happens in earth? It will not be bound together. So how are you going to be one flesh with somebody that is not of your spirit? Your spirit is of Yahweh. This person's spirit of whoever God they are from. So whose supreme law are you going to be binded together with, under? One flesh is greater than just sex. There has to be a spiritual force. And that force is called love. Every atom that keeps it together, that is the force of love. And under the same God, it can be bound in heaven. So yes, it's the same thing in earth. This was what he taught Adam about interracial marriage when he took one of his ribs, one of his family member. Not ashamed. No, this is a subject by itself. But I'm just going to give a small example. What is the one thing that prevents a lot of Hebrews, Christians, whatever you call yourself? What is that one thing that prevents people from keeping the law? A lot of us are ashamed. When a woman goes to sit with her girlfriends and they say, okay, we're going to go and do this next week or Friday, let's go to this place. For you to say, I'm going to have to ask my husband, that is where the shame is. Then all your girlfriends going to look at you like, what the hell? You have to ask your husband permission to go out? A lot of you will be ashamed to say, yes, I respect him, so I need to make sure that he doesn't have any plans or whatever. And if I'm free and he says it, then I can go. It's the same with men. One of the reasons why a lot of men go out at night is to prove that manlyhood, because they are ashamed to say that, no, I'm not hanging out tonight, I'm going to be at home with my wife. You understand? Or if you're going to go to a certain place or whatever, you know that you're out, you know that, okay, 7 o'clock is going to be dinner time, so you need to be back by at least 6:30. A lot of you will be ashamed to say, no, I'm going to have to go back for dinner. You understand? Otherwise, my wife would be eating alone. There's a shame that comes with it. And this is why I said this is a whole thing in itself. But giving those two examples, perhaps you can perceive where the shame is in marriage today based on the culture that we're living in. This is why I started with the language, what ancient marriage was. How was it defined? The respect, the honor. Right? So now we're going to look at honor. Honor in a marriage. Prayer and meditation, right? The thing about meditation is what? Is that you get to self-introspect. You get to do some self-examination. The scripture says, examine yourselves whether you are in the faith or not. So we have to, on a daily basis, examine where we are, because sometimes we hold beliefs about ourselves that are really not true. So when you meet a person, what you're telling them about yourself is about what you believe to be true. But then when they're experiencing you, they're seeing everything contrary to what you said before. Because we don't do a lot of meditation. And even when you look in the Christian community, the two main things that they talk about is what? Prayer and fasting. But prayer and fasting does not bring you to the truth of yourself. You can be praying all day, every day. You can be fasting every week. But it's only meditation that will take you within. Meditation is what heals from inside out. That's why you have to do all three: prayer, fast, and meditate. Absent meditation, you will be just like this person in a garment looking all holy, but inside you're an empty vessel, wounded, filled with trauma. Layers on top of layers. It's just trauma on top of trauma. Your nervous system is blocked with all this trauma. Right? Everything is trapped. All those things trapped in the nervous system. So meditation is very important, and prayer. Right? Now, when you do that self-examination, you will know whether you are ready to receive a blessing that you have been praying for. For example, you are praying for a relationship. You pray for a husband or a wife. There's a Hebrew letter kaf with a palm, right? Now, if you stretch out your hand and you open it, you are able to receive something placed in your hand. Now, what if your hand is like this, with the palm closed? Whatever the person is putting in your hand is going to fall away. So what would have been a blessing has now become a curse. And that's the position a lot of us are in today, because the Most High might send a husband or a wife that would improve our lives, help us heal, help us manifest dreams and goals, right? A lot of women came into our lives to manifest some visions that we have. And what? Because we were not ready to receive the blessings, we end up destroying them and the blessing that they came with. It's the same. Some men, they came to heal the woman, help them, guide them, everything. And guess what? Because they were not ready, they destroyed that. The next thing is the wisdom of the law, choosing our partners. A lot of people say, the Most High has to give me my husband or give me my wife. Yeah, but whether the Most High does it or the wisdom of the law, it's one and the same. It's not the Most High descending from the heavens and gave Eve to Adam. It's the same wisdom that he placed in his consciousness that does the same thing. He did not descend from his throne, and he will not do it. He will not enter into his creation to give you a husband or a wife. But when you read the scriptures and it tells you how to go about it, that is him choosing for you. The problem is a lot of us put our preferences above what we know is right. Just like it says, if a man lay hold on a woman and lay with her, he has to make her his wife, right? So, what if that woman that you met, you give all the sweet talks, you persuaded her, and you take her to bed, but that woman is a demon, that you have to take her to be your wife. Now you're living with this woman, and guess what? It's your worst relationship ever, because you did not let the wisdom choose for you. You took advantage because it was in your power to do it. The wisdom says, deal with them according to knowledge. To know a person. You don't know a person by going on dinner dates and talking at the table. You are seeing what the person wants you to see. You know a person through observation. This is why Jacob could have stayed 7 years, because by him working for the father, he is observing the woman, knowing her by experience. A lot of us don't have that patience. This is why we all start relationship with sex, and then we deal with the trauma afterwards, right? We deal with the flaws afterwards. When you're observing the person, what you will be seeing over a process of time is the flaws that the person has. So now that you observe the person long enough, you realize that she has this, she has that, she has that. The question is, if this person does not change any of those flaws, are you able to live with it? That answer will determine whether you should have sex with the person or not. Now, it's the same thing, woman. You're observing this man for a while. You've seen his ego, you've seen his potential, you see, right? Whatever you see. The question is, now that you can identify all these flaws that he has, if he should not change any of them, would you be able to stay with this man for the rest of your life? The answer to that question will give you the go-ahead to let you know whether you should have sex with him or not. So this is the backward things. Our fire element is too predominant. Fire elements do what? Persuades you to go and have sex first. Your water element does what? Makes you sit back, relax, meditate, and you observe and decide. If there's a connection there, then you go ahead and do it. Right? So we have to be using the wisdom of the Most High's law to make our decisions and not allowing our preferences, especially for the single people. They're horny as hell. This is why their relationships don't go over 3 months. They're talking to a person, and as the sex happens, the relationship ends. Because they were just horny, wanted to fulfill that. And they go ahead and have sex, and then there's no more connection. That was it. That's the life of single people who are proud of being alone, knowing they don't have to worry about anything. Hopes of prayer answered. No, you're praying for a particular type of husband, a particular type of wife. Now, what happens between prayer and the coming of that wife? This time period here of waiting is where the problem is, because a lot of people cannot control their hormones, and this is how they want to wait for the man or the woman that the Most High sent for them. They want to be having all these little types of sexual immoralities in between. So when the real thing comes, that came from the Most High, guess what? They're too tied up in these webs of whatever they call it. So guess what? It pushes this person out the way. So for 5 years, 10 years, guess what? They're still having little flings here and there. because they never waited for the prayer to be answered. So it's like, I'm going to keep having sex with who I want to have sex until this person shows up. Yeah, but this person came, but guess what? He or she is not going to be in all these little things that you're doing over here. He or she is going to stand aside and wait until you're finished to acknowledge him or her. But you are too caught up in your hormones, your convenient pleasures, to notice that this person was standing there all along, waiting for you. Until the grace period is up, then the person is gone. Then you're wondering why. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is the order of the Most High, the Messiah, the man, the woman. A lot of men will say they want a submissive woman, but it doesn't work like that. Submission and order, they works like this. So if you don't have an order set up, if you yourself is out of order, how are you asking for a woman who is submissive? What order will she be in submission to? And then you wonder why, when she can submit because when she goes to work she follows orders. Because there's an order at work. So there's an order for her to follow. But if in your home there is no order, or within yourself, your state of mind, your consciousness, if there's no order there, what will she be in submission to? If you don't have a sense of direction, then where is she going to go? What is she following? She's going to be all over the place. Submission is not about subduing a person or controlling. It is where the woman sees the order. She sees what this man is about. She sees what he has going on. And she says, yes, I'm going to fall in this place. I'm going to be his helpmeet. I'm going to give all my support. I'm going to allow this man to lead me because I've seen his vision. I've seen where he's going. And that's where I would like to go. So she falls in place. You don't need to tell her what to do. Just as at work, they don't have to tell her what to do. She sees it, she knows what to do, and she does it. But what happens when this same woman goes to a job where there is no order? She's going to be doing whatever she wants to do. They're made to follow orders, but what order do you set in place for her to be a part of? A lot of men are in this chaos or confusion state and want women to be in submission to that. It doesn't work like that. You don't search for submissive women. You create. You make them. Just as the Most High made Adam in his image, Adam made the woman in that image. Because he himself was in the order for the woman to follow. So when you're in order, you don't need to ask for a submissive woman. Stand up for it. We honor marriage by standing up for it, just as I said earlier about having a community. Everyone would be standing up for marriage, and they would be standing up for the ancient definition of marriage, not this modern Western society's definition of marriage. And this is why we have to define it. We have to teach our children when they say, two men married to women. No, tell them, no, that's not marriage. Tell them that it is an abomination. This is what a marriage is, and you honor it by doing what? Demonstrate it in your own home. So all your children are seeing is what? How the affection that you're showing to your wife, how both of you communicate with each other, how both of you deal with things together, how you share things, how you support each other. And that's all what your children is seeing. So naturally they will learn, because they're prone to do what? Believe what they see. The reason why a lot of us treat each other the way we do is from what we saw in our homes and from how we experience our siblings. So the brother and the sister and the brother. A lot of men hate women or deal with them in a certain way because they did not come to reconcile things with how their bigger sister treated them or their mothers. And it's the same with the woman and their brothers or the father, the uncles. There's still that resentment there because a lot of us did not learn how to forgive, how to let go. So we are holding on to things that happened even when we were children. 20 years, 30 years after, we're still holding on to those pain. We don't know what to do with it. So what we do, we identify ourselves with our pain. The next aspect is the bed undefiled. Whoremongers, that's a form of the bed undefiled, because a lot of these people who claim they are single, this is just what they are. This is what being single means. So being single is just that polite word for whores and whoremongers. If they were to take these people that they take home at nights when their children gone to bed, if their parents were to be seeing those people, that would be showing the truth of themselves. But no one knows. They come in late at night and they leave before dawn at 4 a.m. So no one sees. So you can appear clean and spiritual the next day, single. No, you are whores and whoremongers. Defile the bed. There is no inheritance for such in the kingdom. Adulterers, fornicators. So whether you're physically doing the act or is just here texting, having those illicit affairs, virtual things that you're doing online in different people's inbox, are what you entertain. Because guess what? A lot of times women will say, oh, this man is hitting on her and stuff like that. The only reason she tells you is because there's no chance for that man. But the one that she likes to hear from, or feels entertained by, or makes her smile, you will never hear of those ones. So don't feel too comfortable that she tells you that this so-and-so is trying at her. Right? So all these things are whores and whoremongers. These adulterers, this fornication, those behaviors, they need to stop. We have to come back to what a true marriage is. Right? What is forbidden and what isn't forbidden. Idolaters, a lot of people are idealizing their partners, put them on pedestals where only the Most High should have been. And sometimes this idealization passes down. Great-grandfather and great-grandmother, right? Great-grandmother used to idolize the man so much, and guess what? The daughters are in the house seeing that. The man was the only provider. It's not like no, right? The man was the only one doing all these things. So guess what? They had to be under that. And the daughter is seeing it. And that's what she learns. And when she has her husband, it's the same thing. Then she has a daughter and it passes down. And the cycle continues. Right? Effeminate. You have a lot of this spirit here today. And one of the main places you find it is in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. You can see the female spirit, you can see that weakness on those men. What are they going to lead by when they take on another spirit? These things the Most High are not pleased with. Thieves. A lot of people are stealing from their partners. are doing things secretly that their partners don't know about, that even involves them. A lot of people say one partner is abroad and sending things back at home to take care of and so forth. They are doing secret things with it, secret loans, secret banking, doing all these things. You have your important or your valuable things in your home. Guess what? It goes missing. Yeah, it's the very same person that is on the pillow next to you. Covet, lust. This is another thing. You wanting something outside of what you have here. So now your desire, your imaginative mind has become stronger than your actual reality. It's called temptation. And you know what makes this so strong? The more you keep it a secret from your partner, it's the more likely it's going to manifest. And especially when you are with a righteous person. So if you have a wife that is righteous or a husband that is righteous, and you're doing these things secretly, you're trying to keep secrets from them, that's when the Most High is going to reveal it. How do you conquer this lust or covetousness? Or when you see you're getting attracted to another person outside of your relationship, the first way to conquer it is what? The scripture says, confess. So once you confess that to the person that you're with, guess what? It doesn't matter how strong this feeling or sensation is. It will not permit you to do it or to act on behalf of it, knowing that your husband or your wife knows. But keeping it a secret, that's when you're going to do foolishly and go after it, thinking you're hiding something from him or her. No, the Most High is just going to allow you to go. He's just going to allow you and make an ass out of yourself. Shame, disgrace, guilt, everything, disgust, all of those emotion that's going to come with it. Your own conscience will condemn you. So to conquer this, yes, confession is the number one remedy, right? Drunkards, we all know how this goes, right? How people behave when they're drunk, they're stupid, and the scripture says to be sober, be vigilant, right? So yes, you cannot be feeding on alcohol to deal with whatever you have to deal with on a daily basis, right? So these things defile the bed of marriage, right? The next thing is God will judge. So sickness, the scripture says, every sickness and every plague that is not written in this book. So guess what? All those immoralities, guess what? Fornication, adultery, everything, there's a sickness that comes with a lot of it. You go out there, you contract this disease. That's a curse. Gonorrhea is not written in the book. Syphilis is not written in the book. Herpes is not written in the book. Right? AIDS is not written in the book. All of this, you get this incurable disease from what? From all of those adultery. And being whoremongers and so forth. Pregnancy, unfruitful children. A lot of you go outside of your relationship and you get children out there, and guess what? You saw what happened with a lot of men in the scriptures. The outside children you saw in the book of Judges, where this person went to his mother's tribe and he rose up against his other brothers, half brothers. Right? A lot of them are unprofitable and fruitful. You cannot build a nation with unfruitful children. Why do you think the Most High is always dealing with the minimum? Because it's better to have 5 people who are in one mind frame than to have a million of people who are with different states of mind, different consciousness. You cannot unite with this diversity. You have to serve the same ideal. So, as for a lot of men who are saying building a nation and their only way of building a nation is sexually, then you are building a nation of what? Unfruitful and unprofitable children. You don't build a nation through that. you build it by here. This is what they will become. What are you putting here? Shalom.